So good. So good. When you think of crawfish, you probably think of the same Louisiana crawfish broils that I experienced as a Vanderbilt baseball player playing down in Baton Rouge, where they broil up a bunch of potatoes, cook up a bunch of crawfish, and you gotta eat them one by one, super slow, very time consuming, not great for somebody who's trying to down 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 grams of protein in one meal. Fortunately, because it's America, we have a highly industrialized and efficient way to consume crawfish at scale, and that is buy the pre-cooked, pre-peeled ones from a Whole Foods type market. They come frozen, but we will defrost them at home and we will make some amazing garlic crawfish rice with them. If you want to save time when you're cooking, you always need to start with the longest item in your meal first. So when we are cooking this ultra delicious garlic crawfish rice, we are going to start with cooking the rice because that's going to take maybe 40 minutes when it's all said and done. So what we're going to end up doing is take our trusty bag of rice. If you're a prepper like me, you would have loaded up on perhaps hundreds of pounds of dry goods during COVID. So I got this nice, let's see, 25-pound bag online. So this will last us, well into 2025. Let's see. And we're going to get about a cup of that, and we are going to put it in our bowl, and then we're just going to wash it a few times until the water turns clear. And we're gonna let that washed rice sit for about 20 minutes with the water on top before we discard it and throw it in the rice cooker. And of course, the key ingredient for any chef, no matter what part of the talent spectrum they sit on, is garlic. I tell people that garlic and salt and butter is the key to making anything taste good, which is why this crawfish is gonna taste great, even if I'm not the most talented chef. You don't know if you're having enough garlic unless you've had too much. So some people think 1 clove is enough. Some people think 2 cloves is enough. Some people think 3 cloves is enough. But to be honest, unless you've had too much garlic, you really don't know. I have had too much garlic. It's very hard to have too much garlic. We're gonna have a 1/2 clove of garlic to go with our crawfish. We're going to chop it up using the cheat codes that I always use when I don't have pre-chopped garlic, which is we're going to mash the sides like this. Very easy to discard the outside. And you don't have to be talented to learn how to cook delicious food at home if you just have access to a lot of garlic. Of course, when we're chopping garlic, the go-to scene that everybody thinks about is the prison scene in Goodfellas. It is a goal of mine in my lifetime to eat as well as Paulie ate while he was in prison during the Goodfellas movie. I don't know how close the Paul Cicero character mapped to the real one when he was put in jail, but that food looked pretty damn good, didn't it? Chop, 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 chop. When our rice is just about done, we want to take a generous portion of butter, say a tablespoon, tablespoon and a half of butter, put it on a large pan of a medium flame. The reason why we want a medium flame is we are not trying to sear the crawfish because it's already been cooked and that's not the texture we're going for. While the butter is getting hot on the pan, we want to cut open our bag of safely harvested crawfish. We're not worried about getting the juice out because we're not trying to sear it. What we want to do, we want to get some salt on it for some flavoring. We want to get some paprika on it because Can't eat Cajun food without making it a little bit spicy. Now, as the butter gets hot on the pan, we're going to want to throw this garlic on. Because the pan isn't super hot, the garlic's not going to burn that quickly, which is a good thing. We're going to want to put the remaining garlic on the pan, and then we are going to mix the seasoning around on the crawfish. We're going to put more salt on there. Give it a healthy pour. We're going to put even more paprika on there. We're going to mix it around one more time. And then we're going to want to make sure that the garlic has sufficient butter so it's not burning the pan. We're going to want to add more butter to the pan because unlike when we're cooking other meats, we're not worried about excessive liquid on this one because we are not going for a crispy outside to the crawfish. Once the garlic is starting to get golden brown, then we can take the already cooked crawfish, put it on the pan. There's going to be some extra juice in the bowl. That's okay. We don't need to be hyper efficient in removing the liquids again because we're not trying to sear this thing. After we add the crawfish, we want to turn the flame a little bit lower, medium low. Again, and we just want to let the crawfish warm up and soak up all of this yummy butter that we put in the pan. After 20-25 minutes of the rice being in the rice cooker, it is ready. We want to take the amount that we want, which is, for me, lower carb. I try to eat protein dominant real food for all my meals, which means I'm going to have maybe this much rice to almost all of that crawfish. We can continue to add seasoning as the crawfish cooks. And after a few minutes, we can serve it. So good, so good. Bonus tip, if you know how to roast some bone marrow, and I'll show you next week, you can take the liquid remnants that are at the bottom of the pan after you roast them, and you can pour it on the crawfish and rice. It tastes just like some meat butter. Chef Alex doesn't miss.